All right, so I'm gonna walk you through exactly how I generated $7.5 million worth of estimates and about $3 million in signed customers for an exterior remodeling company in about 100 days, and I did it all from my bedroom. No canvassing, no relying on referrals or referral partners. You don't need a marketing degree. I literally dropped out of community college and got C's in high school, so if I can do it, anybody can do this. This is honestly one of the best feelings to have as a business owner, to set something up once that will pay you into eternity. This gives you so much leverage. You can go golfing for a day and not have to worry about where's my next lead gonna come from or where's my next customer gonna come from. You're building a massive amount of demand for your business. So if you wanna go on that hunting or fishing trip, or if you wanna hang out with your family, or you don't wanna be stuck at the office or stuck in the field every single day, then this is gonna give you that leverage that you're looking for. Just the other day, I got a message from Zach. He sent me a screenshot of someone that signed for a $400,000 backyard addition and wired him 40 grand that day. If you want that situation to happen, this is the system behind it. It's 4 steps. I'm gonna walk you through each and every single step. Starts with getting attention, capturing interest, starting a dialogue, and then creating customers. If you wanna follow along, I included a workbook below in the description somewhere, or you can go to morejosh.com and it'll redirect you to that. But I'm gonna share my screen and let's dive in. All right, so the first step is getting attention. The principle behind this is that traditional advertising is a colossal waste of money. And if you've ever done Facebook or Instagram ads before, or you've spent money on social media advertising and you haven't gotten any return, you know exactly the feeling that we're talking about. You wasted thousands of dollars, paid a marketing agency thousands of dollars, and nothing happened. And I'm gonna walk you through why that might have happened and what you can do to actually start producing from those mediums. So traditional advertising is a colossal waste of money because it makes the ad about you, your years in business, your trucks, your logo. Homeowners don't care about any of that. They just care about the problem that they're facing. So the deck they're embarrassed to host on, the deck that might be rotting, the roof that might be leaking but they aren't sure, the screen porch they've wanted for 3 summers but they keep putting it off. Make the ad about the problem that they're living with, and you stop interrupting people and you start attracting the right ones who actually need what you offer. So you're gonna do this by using 2 types of ads. There's tons more, but we're gonna boil it down to 2 that work extremely well. So the first one is the direct response problem ad, and the second one is the client story ad. Both are very powerful, but I love the client story ad. It's multifaceted, and we'll talk about that. Here are some ads that I've created, these ones, and then I use some of the great advertising that I've come across on Instagram and Facebook as examples, and that's a strategy that you can use. I'm gonna give you everything, but moving forward, that's a great way to stay on top of what people are doing. You can go to things like Ads Library on Meta and see the exact ads that different companies are putting out. So there's 2 types of essential ads that we talked about. Let's dive into the first one, which is the direct response problem ad. This is the one that we started with when we didn't have our client stories done. And getting testimonials from customers is sometimes hard. So if you haven't done this for somebody before and you're just starting off, then this is the one that I would start off with. But if you have credibility in your market and you have people that will speak on your behalf, then start off with the second one. So let's dive in. So this is about 5 sections, and I would keep them to about 30 to 60 seconds long. We start off with the hook, then we introduce the problem, the bridge, the proof, and the offer or call to action. With the hook, we want to be specific with who we're reaching, and the information that we're saying or the words that we're saying need to resonate with the exact person that you want to work with. So instead of saying, if you need an outdoor project done, you'll say, if you need a deck done. Making it a little bit more specific attracts the people that you actually want to work with. So the hook, call out the person and the problem. And then the second section, we're gonna actually go in and elaborate and agitate the problem a little bit more. Then is the bridge. The bridge bridges people from the problem that they're facing to the solution that you can offer them. Then we provide proof. We've done this for hundreds of homeowners in your area, or if you haven't done it for anybody, then you can just not say anything. Then we have the offer, the call to action. You want to do one very specific next step that they can take, and it needs to be very clear what the benefit of them taking that next step is. So let's walk through a template and let's fill one in for yourself. We start off with the hook. So if your, whatever it is, let's say if your deck in Great Falls is rotting and falling apart, watch this. Most homeowners don't realize the risk of having a rotten deck until they have friends and family over. They want to use their deck and they can't because it's rotten. Or somebody that gets injured on the deck because it's rotten and they fell through. You know, that's horrible. So, and then we go into the bridge, which is, we don't want to leave them in that place of pain. We want to take them from pain to solution and a way out, or a light at the end of the tunnel. So here's the good news. We will come out to your house, look at your deck, tell you exactly what needs to be done, and we'll give you a free estimate and tell you exactly what it's going to cost and what it's going to take to get you from a rotten deck to a brand new deck that you can enjoy with your family. Then we get into the proof. If you've done this before, then this is going to be an amplifier of your videos. If you haven't done it before, then you can leave it out. We're local. We've done it for 10 years in Northern Virginia, and we have a 100% money back guarantee. And then we get into the offer or the call to action. Tap below, enter your address in, and we'll give you an instant estimate for what your deck cost for replacement would look like. So that's a pretty good template to use, and you can fill it in with any sort of different problem that they're facing, any sort of person that you're trying to attract, whether it's for roofing or for decks or for driveways or for patios or for pergolas or pools, whatever it is. So that's what that looks like. And the best part about this type of ad is you can use it for a ton of different, you can make a ton of different variations with this type of ad. So if you go in here, this is how I organize it for my video editors. If you go in, you can see, okay, we have video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 5. Those are pre-planned videos. But if we look at the bridge can pretty much be the same every single time. The proof can pretty much be the same every single time. And you can swap out different offers or call to actions. I'm going to walk you through the different offers and call to actions that we have in the second step. For now, I'm going to give you a look inside and see exactly how I have it set up. So we have B-roll, have different footage that can go along with the words that he's saying. So if you're a homeowner in Northern Virginia and your deck is rotting, then you put a video of a rotting deck or an image of a rotting deck when you're actually speaking. That's great to do. So the way that I like to format it is have different hooks that we can test out. The meat or the bridge is essentially the same across each video. And then the call to action or the proof is also the same across each video, except if we're talking about different services. If we have a video that's just speaking to decks and our proof, we're talking about roofs, we don't want to include that necessarily. We want to just talk about what the video is talking about. And then the call to action. So I like to test different call to actions because I have different funnels. For the sake of this video, we're just going to say it's for them requesting a free estimate. So the best part about this is you can kind of Frankenstein together all of your different hooks. Let's say you have 4 different hooks. You have 1 or 2 variations of your bridge and your proof. And then you have, let's say, 1 or 2 different variations of your call to action. You can paste those hooks and those bridges and kind of create tons of different content from one video shoot, which is a great use of time. And then most importantly, being able to track and see which ones actually have done the best. When we get into setting the ads up, we can see that having the naming conventions is extremely important because we can see, okay, this one brought 171 leads in. Video 4 hook 2 brought 171 leads in. Video 1 hook 1 only brought 4 leads in. So we're going to prioritize the one that brings the most amount of leads in. And then that we can use in different areas of marketing. So that's the first ad type that we can use. The second one is the client story ad. Now this is my favorite one because it can turn into so many different pieces of content. I'm not going to overwhelm you and go through all of them, but I'm going to give you the main 3 that I use that have given us crazy results. So the client story ad. This is the framework I use over and over again. It works in every single trade. You're not pitching people. You're just telling the story of a homeowner that you've helped. They're the hero and you're the guide, as Donald Miller says it. People don't argue with a story, they see themselves in it. So it's the same shape every single time, and this is taken from the SB7 framework. A character with a problem meets a guide who hands them a plan, calls them to action, walks them through the process, and ends in transformation. So it's 6 beats, and let's go through each one. First is a character. Open with the homeowner, never the product, or never about you. It's about the homeowner. You're positioning them as the protagonist in the entire story. Second is the problem that they faced, what they were living with, what was actually causing it, and what happened the last time they tried to fix it. The failed attempt raises the stakes. If you have somebody that got a deck done and a contractor came in before and they just put new baseboards or they put new boards over top of a rotting frame, then that's a horror story and that's a problem that we want to talk about. That other company didn't go to the lengths that you did. 3, they meet a guide, which is you. So you understand their problem, you empathize with them. This is the trust beat. Empathy, not a pitch. Never skip it. This is like the linchpin in the story. The plan. Before touching anything, you laid out a plan that they could follow. Diagnosed what was really failing. Designed around how they'd actually use the space. Walked them through every single choice. The plan is your proof. Then the call to action. They said yes, and then work began. Then it ends in transformation. So we want to show where they started and then how they ended up. This transformation should go deeper than just the physical transformation of the space. It should go into the emotions that they were feeling before, and now the emotions that they feel afterwards. They were scared and uncertain based on if they were going to be able to host their daughter's graduation party at the end of the summer, to we ended up having one of the best family moments in history. And that was all because we were able to host in our backyard that we've wanted to do for so long. So tying it to something real as opposed to something transactional is one of my favorite types of content. And I'm going to walk you through the 3 different ways that we can multiply this into different aspects of the entire system of capturing interest, starting a dialogue, and creating customers. These things are not just useful for getting attention. So first, we can do a carousel. And this is something that we've been doing. Before image, what the design looks like, and then after. We can do a blog, which is the same sort of thing, just online. And it actually, I didn't realize this at the time, but this is what AI optimization is all about. If you heard SEO, the term SEO, this is technically AIO. And I ranked them #1 on ChatGPT without even trying. I didn't really mean to. I kind of just stumbled into this, but it's something really repeatable, and it's actually happened across everyone that I've worked with. So we talk through the exact story, we give images, and then we also give them the opportunity to take the next step throughout the entire process. So that's why this one's about getting attention and capturing interest. And then the third is the nurture text. We use this to send out to people that became leads of ours, and I'm going to walk through this a little bit more in depth here in a second. So the second thing, once we have the attention of our prospects, the next thing is about capturing their interest. You can have the best ads in the world. You can be seen by hundreds of thousands of people and have a massive audience, but if you don't have anything or a way to capture their interest, then it's essentially just a waste of money. So the attention is worthless if you can't actually do something with it. And the job of step 2 is to turn a viewer into a contactable lead with as little friction as humanly possible. The play is to use lead forms. This is recommended, at least for this use case. They open right inside the app. They're super low friction. They're high opt-ins. I would only send someone to a landing page if you have a high converting one in place. Even if you do, I would test this out because it works extremely well with the follow-up process that we have in starting a dialogue. So at the minimum, we want to capture their name, email, and phone number. I wouldn't do anything outside of that to start off with. Every extra question that you ask is a 14% decrease in the amount of people that actually opt in. Now, once you are stacking your calendar up more and your calendar is full, then you can start being a little bit more picky up front. But to get this going, don't ask all the questions in the world. Just keep it relatively simple. So at some point you can ask how old your roof, or how old's your deck, or are you the homeowner, or what's your address right off the bat. It's definitely tempting to do right away, but I just caution against it. Just get flow before you add friction is usually what I say. So this is what a lead form looks like. You can see that I actually did add a question up front. I know I'm breaking my own rules, but since I wrote the rules, I'm allowed to break them. So we ask, do you live in Northern Virginia? Yes, no. What best describes your project? Then we ask for their name, email, phone number, privacy policy, and then it is essentially a thank you page right on Facebook and Instagram. You can press request an appointment here. I changed this to try our instant cost calculator, but that's one way of capturing interest right off of the app. The second way that we capture interest, and this is a little bit more advanced, is through our instant estimate funnel. We send people from Facebook and Instagram directly to this landing page, and they fill out their zip code, they fill out the size of their deck or backyard, the features that they want included, and then it spits them out a quote. It's just an instant estimate tool that I made. If you want to see how I did it, then just ask me. This is the landing page that they go to, the thank you page after they get the estimate. We send them the numbers, and then they go to a thank you page where they watch a video, and then they book a call. So it's a simple funnel where we give them something of value, and then we say, hey, we sent you your estimate, watch this video while it's on the way, and then we get them to book a call. The third way of capturing interest is like we talked about in getting attention, which is a client story blog. And again, we're giving them the option to opt in and give us their information to start with a quote and a 3D design. So that is a way that we're capturing interest. Now, the one thing that I like to do, and this is not required, but it's extremely helpful to be organized with this up front, is we have a Slack group where it's essentially like a messaging platform for communication internally. And if you don't have Slack, it's helpful. There are other options, but I use Slack. So it's a public forum for group accountability and communications. Any lead that comes through these capture forms or these capture methods, I share them into a Slack group. So you can see new quote request, and you can see the good, better, best version that we have from 70 to 170,000. And you can see that the source is direct. They directly went to this landing page. So that's a little bit more advanced, all this tracking and such. It's not required, but it's extremely helpful, especially when you start spending real money on ads. Then you can see meta form. This was from the lead form. This one was from the website. So we can distinguish between how many leads are coming through each funnel. So we can see where our money is being best spent. So in this case, you can see, hey, this person's in 20124, and then they give us a little bit more information about their project type. And then I have a CRM that I use. It's my CRM. I white label it through Go High Level, but I call it Nurture Machine, and we organize where everyone is at. So right away, we're capturing their interest and we're organizing it in a place that we can go and keep tabs on the people that have shown interest. What you'll find is the majority of people that opt in for your ad today don't do anything until 3 months down the line. So staying in front of them and being there for when they're ready to get something done, especially when it's something as big as a $400,000 deck, it's important that we remain in front of them, offering them the next step. And we'll go through that in starting a dialogue and creating a customer. So just to recap, get attention, capture interest. Capturing interest means getting their information from them in exchange for something. Obviously, we don't just want to be like, give us your information. We want to give them something and make it compelling for them to actually give us their information. It's a value exchange. All right, let's get into starting a dialogue. Where you're going to win is with this follow-up process. You can get any lead from any source. It doesn't have to be from Meta or from Google. It can be from flyers or from referrals. If you don't have a way or a system to start a dialogue and create customers, all the lead generation efforts are going to be wasted, and I promise you that. Once someone comes in as a lead, you need an intentional plan to walk them through, not just hoping that they're going to call you. Connections lead to conversations. Conversations lead to conversions. So there's a very specific process that we want to send people to, or send people through. And it starts immediately after they become a lead. Speed to lead, if you've ever heard that, is extremely important, especially when we're dealing with online advertising. If we're not getting to them right away, they're probably going to be talking with somebody else. So making sure that we can connect with their original emotion around why they opted in is extremely important. Let's talk about the overall first 100 hours process that we send them through. On the first day, you can see here that they're coming in through Facebook. I'm also adding them in from the lead form that they submit. We create an opportunity, which is me organizing them down here. This is our opportunities tab. We send a text message on the first day. We wait a few seconds. We send another text message, and then we send an email. The next day, another email and a text. On day 3, an email. On day 4, we do a voicemail drop with another text and an email. On day 5, it's another text, and on day 6, it's an email. And then we add them into our long-term follow-up workflows if they don't end up booking with us right away. What that actually breaks down to is the first day, we send them an email with the deliverable and for them to take a next step. So whether it's a catalog or whether it's the instant cost calculator tool, or whether it's them just reaching out for a free estimate, we want to send them the information on the free estimate right away. And then we want to give them the next step. So whether it's a link to schedule a call, or whether it's a phone number to call, or whether it's a calendar for them to book on, whatever the case might be, whatever the next step that they should take, we want to include that on that delivery email. Minute 0, we want to call them. If it's within office hours and if it's reasonable, and again, this is extremely inexpensive to do. You can get an ISA, you can do it yourself if you're not super busy. Call them right away. Say, hey Josh, I just sent you an email about the free estimate, wanted to make sure you got it. What are you thinking of doing? And then the text right away, hey Josh, it's Josh with company name. Wait a few seconds. Can you send a picture of your backyard? It will help us get a good idea if we can help you. The next day, we do a reply to the first email. We text, could you send a couple of photos of your current deck or backyard? It'll help us figure out the best way to help you. Third day, we reply, to the first email again. Then we do a voicemail drop. We drop them estimates that we've given people or completed projects that we've done in their neighborhood. And then we shoot them the actual email with the estimates. Day 4, we follow up on the email that we sent the previous day. All of these messages all come back to just us confirming that we've reached out to them and seeing if they had a chance to look at it and seeing what they're going to be doing next. Day 4, I sent you an email with a couple of real deck and screen porch proposals from 2 families we've helped in Great Falls, just so you can see what we're doing for people in your area. Day 5, is this something you need to do right away, or do you have some time to plan it out? Day 6, here's the best thing you can do if you're thinking about getting a deck done. So we're just kind of giving opportunities to start a dialogue with them. Step 4 is about creating customers. We want to take all the people that we've come through our ads that have shown interest, and we want to start a dialogue with them. Some people are ready now, some people aren't. Some people won't respond. So we need to have a plan in place for those people. And we need to have a plan in place for the people that are ready now. This thing should be extremely thought out, and I've thought it out for you. So all you need to do is pretty much just copy this. All right, so now you sort and convert based on the leads that have come through and the dialogues that have or have not been started. Some are ready to book now, book them. Some aren't, so we're gonna nurture them. We wanna nurture them so that you're the obvious choice. We wanna fuel their desire to work with you. And we wanna make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. So these are crazy stats that should upset you. 73% of leads are never spoken to by a live human. 80% of sales need 5+ contacts. Only 10% of reps make 3. There's so much money being left on the table. 92% give up after the 4th no, the 4th rejection. That's where 60% of sales happen. So even if someone deliberately says no, that just means not now. In most cases, 63% of leads take 3+ months to close. So if you don't have an intentional plan to stay in touch with people, you're gonna be losing out on 63% of the leads that come through. All right, I wrote this note down to rewire your brain to get dopamine hits from how organized your follow-up and tracking is. Make it a game. Give yourself a scoreboard, reward yourself for keeping this organized, because 63% of your business depends on it. You want to positively incentivize database organization and increase the annual yield of your database. Let's talk about what all that means and how you can actually apply it. Okay, so first we need to route where every lead goes. Some are ready now, some are not now, some in a couple months, some next year. So what's the plan for those? People that are ready now, we book the appointment, move quickly, and lock in the time. This is a win. This is great. We still have a follow-up plan for people that book right away to make sure that they remember that they talk to us, that we're going to help them with this problem, and so that they show up to their appointment, and that they, once we're at the appointment, we increase the likelihood of them wanting to move forward now. So I'll talk about that in a second. If they're ready not now, that means it doesn't matter if they said not yet or we're just looking. If they don't give us a specific timeline, it's not now. Long-term nurture, we don't want to delete these leads. Just because they're not ready right away doesn't mean they're bad leads. It doesn't cost much to stay in front of people after you have them as a lead. It costs more to create new leads. So you might as well have an intentional plan for those that you've already paid for, and don't discard them just because they don't move forward with you right away. In a couple months, if they say in a couple months, that's a soft timeline. Always call back before the date that they say. If they say July, call back in June. People change their mind. Things happen. Things come up. So it's okay to reach back out to them. If they say next year, if they're an extremely long time horizon away, next year, next 2 years, then that's completely fine. It's still extremely inexpensive for us to stay in front of them and be ready when they're ready, or be there when they're ready. So we add them to a long-term nurture, which looks like a weekly email, a monthly text, and we re-enter them into that follow-up sequence a few months after they say, hey, we're not ready until like next year. Perfectly fine. These long-term nurturers are also educating them and motivating them, as Dean Jackson says, to want to do business with us. So people aren't going to get pissed if we're giving them helpful information. If we're trying to sell them constantly, even after they've told us, we don't want this until this time. We don't want to make enemies. We want to educate. We want to motivate. All right, so this is something that we do that Dean taught me. After a week, after this initial follow-up sequence, the first 6 days, we categorize them. We go in and we see, okay, which ones are active? Active meaning people that are opening our emails and texts, clicking on links, watching videos, but they're not necessarily saying anything back to us yet. They're just showing us by clicking and opening the emails, absorbing the content. These people are VIPs. They haven't said anything yet, but they're doing their due diligence. So call them once to twice a week ongoing. These people are paying attention. They're absorbing all the stuff that we're sending them. We want to nurture them closely and get them excited for the next step. We want to fuel their desire to work with us. So we can do that in a few different ways. I'm going to show you that right after this. Okay, sleeping is they're not opening anything, but they gave you good information and they're delivering, right? The emails are going through, the texts are going through. We can see that they're actually delivering, but they haven't really shown us any signs of life yet. These people are the easiest ones to discount and say that they're bad leads because they're not responding right away. But we want to continue nurturing them. There's a large majority of people in this sleeping category that end up doing something. It happened to us. A lead came in January, didn't really open anything, didn't answer any of our calls or texts, and then got an estimate for a $270,000 deck with us 3 months after. So it definitely is important to stay in front of those people and offer them the chance to take a next step. Okay, dead leads. These are people that say F off or wrong info. We disqualify them, and that's gonna be about 50% of the leads that come through. But we make up for it by having an amazing follow-up process for the rest of the ones that do come through. So if they're a contractor, I would add a contractor tag. I wouldn't obviously continue marketing to them, but what I would say is this person might be a referral partner down the road because you're going to be busy. We've had this situation happen where we have one maybe thinking about adding another referral partner because there's so much business coming through. So you're going to be busy. It's going to come in handy to have some contacts later down the line. Although there might be people trying to funnel hack you, just reach out to them and say, hey, we have extra business. Can we send it to you? Obviously, if that's the case. Okay, so here are some of the follow-up messages that you can copy. I shared one of them with you earlier on in the getting attention with the client story ad. So this is something that we do. It's a client story text, and it's to create customers. We share the story of somebody that we've done a project for recently. I just finished a project in Great Falls. They had a rotting deck and it was basically falling apart. We designed the full deck, screen porch replacement, showed them exactly what it would look like before we touched a single board, and built the whole thing. The before and after is pretty wild. So in that one little paragraph, in those two sentences, we had a character that had a problem, that met a guide, that gave him a solution and called him to action and led in transformation. That is all in this one message. And we send them a link, and then we add a little delay, and then we say 2 seconds after or 3 seconds after, would you like us to start on yours? Or would you like me to start on yours? I love this message so much because we can send it to anybody. We can send it to anybody that hasn't paid us yet. A new lead that hasn't booked an appointment, or someone that has booked an appointment that hasn't gotten an estimate, or someone that's got an estimate that hasn't closed yet. It's a great way to continue them moving forward. And then you can see it in action. So we sent them a text message. Hey Fred, it's Zach with company name. I sent your quotes to email. Is that the right one? And then right away, we actually didn't even give him time to respond. We just called him right away, right after he became a lead. 7:14 p.m. We took a few liberties on this one, but Matthew connected with him, and then he booked an appointment with our owner, Zach. And that appointment was a few days ago. So the reminder sequence that we use is right as they book, email confirming the appointment, a text message confirming the appointment, and a video for them to watch right before the appointment. So on booking, we say, hey, you're booked for a day, time, at address. Watch this before our meeting. And it's a link to the video. 24 hours before, we want to make sure that they watch the video before we have a meeting with them, because that video does a lot of the selling for us, answers a lot of the questions that they would want to know before getting a deck or a screen porch or a pergola or a patio or a roof. Any of that stuff done. Obviously, we're just talking about decks in these videos. We want to make sure that they watched it an hour before. We're reminding them, hey, we'll see you soon, whether it's on the phone or in person. If they no-show, that doesn't happen often, to be completely honest, especially with this type of thing. If they no-show, we add them back into the follow-up sequence to nurture them. Okay, let's say that they showed up to the appointment. Here's what to do. After the appointment, we want to capture feedback, follow up, and log everything. Capture feedback from each and every single appointment, tag and organize it. Depending on if let's say you had a phone consultation with somebody and they're just not quite ready, or they're not there, they don't have realistic expectations, or you ended up sending them a virtual estimate and it's a good customer, you're going to go out to their house the next day. Awesome. We want to capture feedback, tag it, and note it in the CRM so that everybody on the team knows where that person is at. It helps connect marketing and sales. Marketing and sales need to be tied together extremely. There needs to be a feedback loop between marketing and sales because it creates a flywheel. I call it the job flow flywheel. Next is follow up on every action item. If you promised a quote, if you promised photos, an option, send it quickly, send it fast. If you can't send it quickly or fast and you're at a point where you're able to scale, have somebody help you out. Log estimates and sign contract with accurate job sizes so you always know your real numbers. There's so much power in knowing your numbers. It's extremely important. I'm going to show you an easy way to track all of this stuff here in a second. But let's say that somebody is like, no, I'm not ready quite yet. Thank you for the estimate. This is what we're going to do. So every 2 to 3 weeks after the appointment with them, we're going to send them a value text or value email. A tip, recent before and after, a seasonal reminder, no hard sell. The trick is not being pushy, but being an educator, being a guide on a weekly basis, depending on where they're at in the follow-up. We send them a client story, a real homeowner that you've helped, social proof on autopilot. These are those client story blogs that we can send out as client story texts. And then we can also retarget them online as client story ads. Then monthly, we'll use Dean Jackson's 9-word email. Are you still thinking about getting a deck done? Are you still thinking about building a deck? We can also tie things to seasonality, which is fun. So there's 12 months out of the year. That's 12 times that you have to reach out to somebody. Are you thinking about getting something done in June, July, August, September, October? We can do that once a month. There's spring, summer, fall, winter. That's 4 separate times. Hey, going into summer, going into fall, going into winter, there's always a way, there's always a reason to reach out. There's also holidays throughout the year that you can also use as anchor points to follow up with people. I mentioned earlier about rewiring your brain to get dopamine hits from how organized your CRM and tracking is. This all works when you track it. That's the only way that it's able to grow. Something that's not tracked does not grow. It does, maybe, haphazardly and unpredictably, but you need to track it very, very fanatically and have an organized follow-up system if you truly want to scale. The only reason we were able to send out 7.5 million in estimates is because of how tedious we are in our tracking of the performance of the ads. And the reason why we have a 40x ROI, I need to update these numbers. It's a little over 3 million and it's about 70K that we spent. So the reason why we have such a high ROI on this is because of the tracking and the fanatical obsession over making sure that everything, every little detail is not missed. This is something that you can do for yourself. If you want me to help you out with that, just let me know and I'd be more than happy to. If you have any questions, leave a comment, jump in the group, and good luck.